This is your ultimate stop for everything sports. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Should I say more? From the NFL, MLB, the NBA to MMA, it's all in here. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Listen now.
And welcome to the GSMC Sports Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Jeff Malinoff, and with me is Jesse at the moment. And we are going to have many things to talk about today. First, we're going to talk about the Thursday night football matchup between the Rams and Vikings, two of arguably the best teams in the NFC going at it today. And then we also have the Rockies taking over first place in the NL West, as well as the price for Jimmy Butler being a little too steep for most teams. And then we'll finish off the podcast like we always do, just talk about whatever else there is about sports. So we're going to go right into Thursday night football. We got the Rams and Vikings. Who do you have in this one? Let's just go right into it.
Well, the Rams are actually favored by 7 points in this one.
I see that because of what happened with the Bills last week from the loss to the Vikings, or the victory over the Vikings.
Yeah, I wonder if it's Vegas thinks the Rams are that good, or maybe the Vikings are just that bad.
I think that loss really put a dent in that. I think that's the big factor in this.
Yeah. Actually kind of scared me a bit. Vegas usually knows all, but I'm gonna go with the Rams. All right. Vegas kind of scared me into that pick right there. I'm gonna go with the Rams. Usually Vegas knows all before we all do, so I'll go with the Rams here. I mean, they'll be without Talib. Obviously, we talked about that yesterday. I believe he'll be out for about 8 games. You got Marcus Peters, who
I don't think he's gonna play.
Yeah, I'm not sure he'll play either.
I think it's too early.
But I'm going to go ahead and just stick with the Rams offense, putting up a bunch of points.
Have they announced yet if he's playing or not?
Not yet.
I think it's still to be determined, right?
Yeah, that'll probably be a game-time decision type of thing there. But
I wouldn't do it. I think it's too early. Yeah. From a Sunday to a Thursday, I think it's too early to put a guy in.
If they're playing like Sunday night or just the regular Sunday game, then maybe you do it. But
I would agree. Yeah. But it's like, that's like 4 days? Mm-hmm. I don't think that's enough time. So you have the Rams. Do you see it as a close game, or do you see it as a multiple touchdown deficit?
It'll be, I think, close-ish, I guess. Like in a way where the Rams, I think you know what? I'll say close. I'm not expecting like a 3-point game or anything like that, but I think the Rams will end up winning by a touchdown or something of that matter, where maybe they get a garbage time field goal or something that'll put them ahead and put the game out of reach. I really like Todd Gurley. I mean, I think we can both agree as of right now he is the best running back in the league.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, given everything he does for that offense. Brandon Cooks, I believe he has more receiving yards than the entire Patriots receivers do so far this season.
Well, that's a little, I guess it's ironic.
Yeah, they got rid of him, and now they need a bunch of receiver help.
Well, remember how he played in the Super Bowl? It was really disappointing because he was supposed to be the guy on that team, and he just did not.
Malcolm Jenkins did knock him out, though.
That was a pretty brutal hit, granted. Yeah. But also, he was supposed to be that guy throughout the whole season. He wasn't.
Oh, yeah, he was a big disappointment last season. You're completely right.
He played well, but he didn't play to the expectations the Patriots had of him.
And I think it's just a matter of that offense, is built for
Todd Gurley.
Well, no, I'm talking about the Patriots offense.
Patriots.
Yeah, just about Brandon Cooks. I think that offense is built more towards the slot guys, the route runners, and all that. Not more so the outside boundary
speedy guys.
Yeah, it's Brandon Cooks.
Yeah, Gronkowski's probably the main guy you go to in that offense.
Yeah, because
in that situation.
Danny Amendola also. I mean, he thrived in that offense. Chris Hogan, Julian Edelman. But
just the short guys that are not very quick. But I do agree with you. I do think the Rams are taking this. But I think it's going to be they're going to ride the back of Todd Gurley throughout this whole game.
And then you got Jared Goff, too, who obviously, yeah, you're right. Todd Gurley is
without Todd Gurley, I don't think Goff plays that well.
Yeah.
I think Gurley makes, there's very few running backs that can make a quarterback look good. Mm-hmm. And not that Goff's a bad player, but I think Gurley is that level of a running back that he can make that quarterback look better, whoever it is.
Gurley has kind of excelled, I'd say. Goff's development kind of gave him a little security blanket, I'd say.
Absolutely.
But the offense has been playing. I think threw for 354 yards last week. I can't remember exactly who the Rams are playing. I mean, it feels like week 3 was just years ago.
Yeah, it was not. It was a long.
They play the Chargers. They play the Chargers. I forgot.
Right. Oh yeah, LA. And the Chargers defense is looking sharp, but I just think there was too many weapons in LA in the Rams that at least for them they couldn't handle everybody.
Yeah, and we're gonna have to figure that out too. Which is going to be the team that's referred to as LA, and which one's going to go by their team name? I assume we go by the Rams, call them LA, and the Chargers will just be the Chargers forever.
Yeah, I think the Chargers are just a team without a city at the moment.
Yeah.
Like last year, you could argue that they played 16 away games.
Yeah, because the Rams are originally from LA and all that. So, I mean, you have some fans from back then who were still around and welcome them back. But the Chargers are just...
The Chargers were there for their first year in the league for the AFL, but then they just went to San Diego the next year. It was just a random little instance. So, technically, they're from LA also, but not in the light that LA is.
Yeah.
Or the Rams is. I guess I'm already going into that. But I mean, the Rams didn't make it to the Super Bowl when they were in LA, and the Chargers have only made it to one with San Diego. And I think people are still going to think of them as the San Diego Chargers. I don't think they'll ever be really known as the LA Chargers.
Yeah,
you know what I mean by that? Yeah, just like they're just
not identity. Really ever accepted or welcomed.
Absolutely, they're the redheaded stepchild of LA.
Yeah, and then you look at the Vikings. I mean, we've talked about it a lot, them coming off of that loss to the Bills. I mean, that was a home game, too, that they dropped. It wasn't like they traveled to Buffalo and the Buffalo fans were going crazy or anything like that. No, you were playing at home.
Home field advantage. And that's a huge. That's what I put way into perspective more than anything else is they didn't get that. They did play that well at home.
Yeah, and it's not like, okay, the Bills eked out a close game. I mean, a mistake.
No, it was over from the beginning.
Blowout. Yeah, maybe Josh Allen's just that good and we don't know it yet, possibly.
Or it's a sign of the decline of the Vikings, and this kind of happens with Minnesota. Every time they have a really good season, they don't perform the next season.
Minnesota, whenever they get good, because I remember back with Favre, like they'll get close, and then
if Favre doesn't throw that interception, in the NFC title game, they are in the Super Bowl.
I'll never forget that he threw it across his body. I mean, pretty much did everything you're not supposed to do.
And the Vikings commentator just going ballistic. Can't blame him.
Yeah.
Because easily he could have thrown that ball away or something like that and kicked the field goal. And then we see the Vikings, Brett Favre versus Peyton Manning and the Colts, which would have been a very entertaining Super Bowl, no doubt about it.
I feel like we've been kind of cheated as far as these top quarterbacks going against each other in the Super Bowl. Like we haven't had Brady versus Rodgers or anything like that. Like we have Brady versus Eli, but I don't think that's not necessarily a great matchup or anything like that.
I would definitely say that we have been cheated of like those iconic, like in the 80s we had Dan Marino versus Joe Montana. It wasn't a good game, but we had the hype of that.
Yeah.
Have we had that hype in the last 20 years of two elite quarterbacks going at it?
Maybe Manning and Breeze, back when the Colts played the Saints.
Yeah, I would say so. Like, the last time Brett Favre was in the Super Bowl, he was facing John Elway.
Yeah.
Like, that's how long ago that was. And that, I guess you can call that an elite versus an elite.
Yeah, and even then, I think Elway was kind of, like, past his prime.
They still won, granted, but it was Terrell Davis's team, not John Elway's.
Yeah.
But, yeah, we have been cheated of that iconic quarterback versus quarterback battle, especially over the last 10 years. Like, we could have had Rodgers versus Brady multiple times.
We haven't had Breeze versus Brady yet.
Yeah. Well, I still don't think that's one Saints team in 2009 was different than the other teams. I don't think that was their one chance of winning the Super Bowl, and they did it. I didn't see them going back, especially when they lost to the 7-9 Rams after that, or not the Rams, excuse me, the Seahawks.
The Seahawks. Yeah, I'm looking at it now. I mean, you got Brady in the AFC, but we could just have a Super Bowl where you got Rivers, maybe Mahomes. They pull it out.
If Manning was in the NFC, do you see them playing each other?
Yeah, if Manning were to somehow play for
that could have been a very hyped Super Bowl.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like Brady did get the better of Manning later on. Actually, I don't know. I think I've always felt like Brady's got the best out of everyone that they've played, but I think with Manning, maybe it was a bit more even split.
Yeah, but there's just been so many matchups that we all dream about, and like we never got. But we've always gotten quality games. I guess that's the positive when you look at it.
I guess tonight we got Goff versus Cousins. You think Cousins has played well so far, I'd say?
It's not Cousins' fault they played. Well, he did throw a couple picks, granted, but that defense collapsed.
Yeah, I'd say as a whole for the season, he's played well. I mean, it's still...
Is he worth the money?
It's...
to be determined?
To be determined. They got to win a Super Bowl, I'd say. I mean,
Oh wow, you think it's worth the money?
not this year, but within the next 3 years.
How long's the contract? 5 years?
He's got 3 years.
He's got
3 years, $84 million guaranteed. He's got
a lot of money for 3 years.
Yeah, especially if you're giving a guy a fully guaranteed contract, you're bringing him in to win a Super Bowl.
And from what he said about the team and the organization, I think he's going to resign eventually. After that,
yeah, it seems like he's a good fit there.
Yeah, he seems to be enjoying himself. Like there, you see that like behind the scenes thing of him and his wife talking about how much they love Minnesota already.
Yeah,
there's got to be some very awful things to happen if he wants to leave.
Yeah, and there hasn't really been any stability with the Vikings quarterbacks. I mean, they had Culpepper for a while. He hurts his knee. He goes to Miami, and that was the disaster.
That was Culpepper.
Yeah, he had that, and then I don't remember who.
Matt and cover and everything.
I don't remember who came into the Vikings after that. I mean, I feel like that was kind of a lull. That we got Christian.
Brad Johnson?
Was it Brad Johnson?
I think it was Brad Johnson.
Yeah, so
the quarterback of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Super Bowl team, but no one remembers that because of their defense.
Yeah, and then you got Christian Ponder come in. He's stunk.
Oh, Christian Ponder.
Yeah, and then Teddy Bridgewater came in.
First round pick.
Or actually, you had Favre. Was Favre before or after Ponder?
After. No, he was like during. Like I think Ponder was drafted in 2009.
Maybe. We'd have to double check.
Maybe after.
But you've had Favre for a couple
Christian
years.
Ponder is very forgettable. I forgot he was a quarterback out of Florida State.
And then you had Bridgewater come in, but he hurt his knee. Bradford came in. He got hurt.
I think it's just bad luck.
Yeah, it might just be, honestly.
Yeah. Like, Bridgewater could have been that guy that helped them win.
Yeah, if Bridgewater doesn't
He was playing well before he got hurt.
Yeah.
And he just and then he just never got another chance to prove himself again.
Yeah, if he doesn't hurt his knee, I'm assuming he's still the
quarterback.
He was out
for,
of his
2 years because of that knee injury?
Like a year and a half, 2 years, something like that, I think.
Didn't he almost, lose his leg?
It was pretty bad, yeah. He
almost got amputated, right?
I wouldn't say he almost did whatever, but there was talk about it being that bad.
Yeah, it was like the other guy that just got his knee injury. What was his name on the Bears? I think it was.
Oh, Zach Miller. I remember watching that play when it happened.
He was close to losing his leg.
Yeah, it was bad. I remember watching it.
Well, it bent the completely opposite direction. It was probably the most gruesome thing you can ever see in a football game.
And the refs didn't even give him the touchdown either, which I still thought it was a touchdown.
Yeah,
on that little pass.
What are you to do?
Yeah,
we still don't know what a catch is today.
Yeah,
but so you have the Rams taking this?
Yeah, I got the Rams. I'm going to stick with them. I mean, they've been playing good football, and I figure even if Peters doesn't play, maybe Sue and Donald will get to the backfield enough to where corners really don't have to do too much work as far as staying in coverage for more than a few seconds.
I'm hoping for a competitive matchup, but if it is like a one-sided matchup for the Rams, there's going to be a lot of questions about the Vikings, and are they one of those best teams in the NFC?
Yeah, if the Vikings lose and keep it close, I'd say everyone will be fine with them. But if you get blown out here, then it's there's going to be some conversations.
There's definitely going to be some doubts.
Yeah.
But anything else about this game?
That's pretty much all I got for this game. Just excited for it.
Yeah, it's going to be probably the most looking forward to a Thursday night game out of the season.
Yeah.
Like they've been promoting that this is going to be one of those all the Thursday. Do you see the commercials for the Thursday night matchups?
Yeah,
like
they've been all the matchups.
Oh yeah, they've been all hyped about it. But in reality, people are just like, okay,
yeah, we'll see if they deliver.
Yeah, but we're gonna take a quick short break. When we get back, we'll talk about the Rockies and their taking over of the NL West and the excitement of those playoffs. And we'll get right on that right after this.
The average sedan is built with a steel frame and equipped with 6 airbags. Remember this the next time you see someone walking. Drivers, be aware. Pedestrians don't have armor. A message from the California Office of Traffic Safety. The average SUV has 2 blind spots, weighs between 4,000 and 6,000 pounds, and takes about 6 seconds to stop. Remember this the next time you're on foot. Pay attention, people. Pedestrians don't have armor. A message from the California Office of Traffic Safety.
And welcome back to the GSMC Sports Podcast. We just talked about the Thursday night football matchup between the Rams and the Vikings, and now we have some fun news in the baseball world as the Colorado Rockies have taken over the NL West from the LA Dodgers. Jesse, do you see them holding on to this until the playoffs?
It depends how. You know what? they're playing. I think they're currently playing the Phillies. Let me see if they got the Phillies tonight or if they start their series up with the Nationals. Let me see. So yesterday was Wednesday the 26th. We'll look at Thursday the 27th. Yeah, so they got one more game with the Phillies. I mean, it all depends, I guess. It's honestly, I have no clue. Last couple weeks, like 2 weeks ago, I said the Rockies were going to end up taking the NL West. Then the Dodgers take over, and it's like, okay, the Dodgers are hot. They're playing good baseball. They're winning a bunch of games here. They're on a nice little streak, and then they get cold. The Rockies get hot. It's been kind of switching off. So I guess if you look at it, I guess it's the Dodgers' turn to get hot, but it may be too little, too late.
Yeah, I was about to say they can't get hot in quick enough time.
Yeah, maybe if they sweep the Giants and maybe the Nationals take 2 out of 3 against the Rockies, given maybe it's Bryce Harper's last couple of games with the Nationals. I mean, even talking about the Nationals yesterday, I think it was their last home game of the season, and Bryce Harper said he showed up a few hours before the game and just put the uniform on and was just in that the entire time, given Bryce Harper's leaving. I mean, with how he's talking, he's gone.
Done.
Yeah, he's gone.
He's done. He's done with Washington at least.
Yeah.
And he's going to get a big fat contract by this season. But both teams do have 88 wins at the moment. Mm-hmm. It's a half a game, correct?
Yeah,
Rockies have 70 losses and the Dodgers have 71. So it's close as you can possibly get it, and that's the beauty of baseball, and I love that about it. But the Dodgers playing tomorrow do have the Giants, and Bumgarner is pitching. Do you think that will play a factor in that game?
I got to see who's pitching against Bumgarner. I feel like, I don't know, Bumgarner, we've always talked about him being...
Ryu.
Ryu?
Yeah.
I'd have to... Well, it all depends if the Giants can score runs. I mean, Bumgarner can go about 7-6 innings, only give about a run or two, but if the Giants aren't scoring, then, I mean, it's kind of like the Jacob deGrom type of thing.
Do you think the Giants are motivated to play spoiler for them?
I think
the division?
I think they are. I'm curious to see if the fans are going to be showing up for this one. I mean, obviously they haven't had a reason to because the Giants haven't really given them a reason to. But, I mean, it's the Dodgers. You can knock them out of playoff contention with this series. I'd be very...
Yeah, they haven't clinched anything. It's only the Brewers that have clinched the National League, if I'm correct.
Yeah, right now you got the Cubs, the Brewers,
that's
and
how close
the
the National League is, where only one team right now is clinched a playoff spot, while in the American League it's, 4, 5?
Well, yeah, you got the Cubs and... Braves who have clinched playoff spots. But as far as like the NL West, I mean, the Dodgers and Rockies haven't clinched anything. And you look at the wild card right now, the Dodgers are actually in that second spot. So we could see 2 NL West teams and the Cardinals be the odd man out. But I think the Cardinals, they're playing the Cubs next. And that's going to be a tough series too, just given the fact that, I mean, the Cubs, they're only a half game up on the Brewers right now.
All these games are must win.
Yeah, the NL, I'm glad that the NL is still pretty close. The AL, I mean, that's honestly been decided for a month, I'd say. We all knew it'd be Yankees, A's in the wild card game, just a matter of who's playing where. Red Sox were going to win the East. The Indians won the Central by the time the season started. I mean, all those teams are absolutely terrible in there.
That's the worst. We talked about this. That's the worst division in the league.
Yeah, it's not even close. It's honestly like almost kind of embarrassing, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, because the Indians have, 86, 87 wins at the moment? They already clinched, a week ago.
Yeah.
They had probably, 80 wins at that time, it feels like.
And AL Central teams have 3 of the 4 worst records in the AL. I mean, Baltimore has just been worse, and Baltimore's been historically worse, so I mean...
They have, 112 wins?
Or losses? Yeah, they got 112 losses.
That's a whole new level of bad.
Yeah, they're going to end up with more losses
What's
than the Red
record
Sox
for most losses? Do you know?
I think that's a good question. Let me see if I can pull that up as we're talking through
because 112 losses, that has to be up there.
Yeah, and I know that's a franchise record too also for them. And I mean,
the Orioles have always been in contention one way or another. They've never been this bad before, I don't think.
So the New York Mets in 1962 had 120 losses.
100? Whoa.
Yeah, that was back in 1962. That was classic New York Mets baseball right there.
120 losses. That's on a whole nother level.
Detroit in 2003 had 119. And
yet 3 years later, they're in the World Series.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Talk about a turnaround.
Yeah, especially.
But I think 120 losses, that's a whole new level of ineptitude.
I think 2003 is the year Miguel Cabrera ended up, or the year after that. That's the year he ended up getting traded there.
He was on the Marlins. Yeah. That's the year they won the World Series.
Yeah, they had Beckett there. They had Cabrera. I know they had Hanley Ramirez, I
don't know why they traded all those guys.
Yeah, I don't know why.
They destroyed that team. That team could have been a dynasty.
Yeah.
But 120 losses, so unless, I don't think, is there 8 games left in this season?
I think there's only one more series left, so it's about like 3 or 4 more games left.
They
depending on
can't
where you are
break the
currently.
record, but they can get close.
Yeah,
115.
Make it look nice.
That'd be fun if they lose all their games and they go to 116 some odd losses. That'd be great.
They ended up beating Boston yesterday in Game 2 of their doubleheader, but
it's a doubleheader.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna take that one seriously.
I hate doubleheaders too this late in the season, especially if it's against if it's two teams who are still competing, meaning still trying to make their way up in the standings or whatnot.
One team's already in their position. One team's already out of the playoffs.
Yeah, we don't need a doubleheader between the Orioles and Red Sox. I mean, we could just call that game.
I think it's more of just a scheduling issue, and you got to work on your schedule rather than teams, rather than playing for a spot.
Yeah, but I'm real curious looking at that NL Central. I mean, if you're the Cubs, you don't want to play a wild card game. Given, I mean, you have one bad game, you're out. And I mean, that's the way it's looking right now. The Brewers have won 4 in a row. They've 7-3 in their last 10. I was checking out the Cubs game yesterday with them playing the Pirates. They were up 6-1 at one point, and then the Pirates just kept chipping away. Luckily, in extra innings, the Cubs ended up taking it. But I mean, they're not really playing the best of baseball. They're just kind of wavering of kind of almost dangling the little lead right in front of the Brewers, and eventually the Brewers are going to end up taking it.
Well, you could look at the Yankees too. They have 97 wins. They probably have the second best record in the league, and they might lose to this one wild card game type of thing. And it's just one of the things, you're in a division with the best team in baseball, and you're arguably the second best team in baseball, and you have to play in this one wild card winner take all game.
I love the winner take all game. I mean, like I said, it's unfair for some of these teams, but
especially for, I would say, for the Yankees.
Do or die baseball. I'd say there's not really anything better than it. I mean, obviously in the NFL, you got do or die games week in and week out, but it's just baseball is that one where, I mean, you could be the best starting pitching team in baseball, and your starter ends up giving up 5 runs in about 3 innings or whatnot. You just never know what's going to be happening. You could be the Oakland A's up big on the Royals, and then you end up giving up the game as it progresses.
Been torture for A's fans that game.
Yeah, I got plenty of A's fans, and they still kind of shudder when they hear about that game.
Well, they're up 8-1.
I think
it was
so.
Something ridiculous like that. I remember watching that game and just almost just in disbelief. You have this lead with not even 3 innings left, and you blow it.
And that's the thing, too. That's why we get Moneyballs, because that's the perfect ending to the movie. The A's just coming up short when it matters most. It's a great story throughout, and then it just ends with that little bit of heartbreak, and that's why you get the Brad Pitt, the Jonah Hills, and all that in that movie.
Well, you can't really end it with a World Series win because that didn't happen.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, it makes it makes it the perfect movies. You got the how do you say, the joy of it, and then you got the heartbreak all in one in the movie. And I mean, we could get Moneyball 2. I mean, if they do end up winning World Series, or even if they do end up losing in this wild card game. I mean, you got the evil Empire Yankees. You can make them out to look like a bad guy in the movie. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to it.
Unless Darth Vader is pitching, I don't see Moneyball 2 making any more twist than that.
Yeah, I mean,
which I think Darth Vader could throw a mean slider though with the Force.
Yeah, definitely.
He could probably throw some unfair pitches.
Yeah.
But definitely we should be talking about the Rockies though, and how there's only one series left.
They got against roughly the Nationals, yeah.
Yeah, and I think if they win 2 of those, they clinch.
Yeah, Giants if they win 2, I think the Dodgers got to sweep the Giants, and I just don't see that happening.
I don't see it either. So we have the Dodgers possibly not even in the playoffs in this situation.
And if they don't make the playoffs, I mean,
do you call that a collapse? Like a regular season collapse?
Yeah, because you traded for Manny Machado, you brought on Brian Dozier from Minnesota. I mean, you brought on players to win a World Series.
Was it a World Series or bust year?
Yeah,
and they're barely surviving at the moment.
When you're bringing on Manny Machado, given he's only got the rest of this year on his contract left, and he can go wherever else he wants.
Did he stay? It depends on if they make the playoffs.
The Dodgers have the money to give him, but it's a matter of maybe, again, you got the Yankees you always got to worry about. Maybe Boston somehow finds the way in there. I know at third base they've been kind of I mean, Devers isn't really the greatest defensive third baseman. And then obviously, I mean, actually, you know what? I think Machado's going to end up in pinstripes. I mean, I'm not really sure.
Really?
I think he's going to stay.
Do you think they can pay him?
Yankees can pay whoever they want. It's just a matter of, do you want that many guys on your payroll? Because I don't think there's a cap
That is true. But we were talking about that. Like, if they go after Bryce Harper, they
It's
still
either
have Stanton's contract, and then they have to wait until Judge's rookie deal is over. Then they're gonna have to pay him a lot.
Yeah, it's
Can they afford that many people on that high payroll?
I mean, like I said, yeah, it's the Yankees. They can, but they won't do Machado and Harper. It'll be one or the other. And I mean, maybe Harper ends up going to Chicago, or maybe he ends up...
San Francisco is one of those places for
San
him.
Francisco. I keep forgetting to throw them in there, but they've been a team that's been kind of sticking around. Yeah.
Well, they have a lot of money.
Yeah, so maybe if they miss out on Harper, you go after Machado. But even then, I mean, that could be time.
If they
wasted.
don't get either of those players, I think that's a failure of a regular of the off season.
Yeah, I mean, you could be right there, but I think this is kind of like a new Yankees team. It's a matter of, I think if they miss out on both of them, we'll kind of hear, well, the Yankees now, we're in a position where we're trying to bring up guys from our farm system. They'll try and spin it that way, but I think they are. Like, if you're going after Harper or Machado and you don't get them, and you're the Yankees, that is a bit of a failure, I would say. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, but again, they have Judge on a rookie deal. Once he's off that rookie deal, that's going to be probably $250 million at least.
I don't know, actually, because would you put Judge up there with Stanton? Like, with those guys,
how many home runs
and all
he's
that?
in, and how consistent he's played offensively? Yeah, I would put him up there with Stanton.
Because, I mean, you got J.D. Martinez, who's been hitting the cover off the bottom. He's only on, like, a little over $100 million deal, I think.
That's going to be an extended.
And I think that baseball is kind of in a position where they're trying to shy away from those long-term, big money deals that Stanton got. I think once everyone saw the Marlins giving him that deal,
13 years, $325 million, we'll never see that again. That's ridiculous.
Because you look at this, and you get like Eric Hosmer, I think, who got another big money deal, and it's not even working out for the Padres. I mean, it didn't add any wins to them there.
Well, one guy is not going to change that Padres team.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying teams are going to kind of shy away from giving those guys those long-term deals with money because it's like I don't think it's ever really worked out. Like even A-Rod, I'd say. I mean, he got a big money deal from the Rangers, I think it was.
And then
they ended up trading
he went
him,
on with
and
the Yankees. The Yankees took on that contract too.
Yeah, so I mean, they've never really worked out there.
Yeah.
But I mean, we'll see what ends up happening. It's all about, I'd say Harper, I think, is going to be the only one who gets that kind of deal just given he's a big marketable star.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'd say Judge isn't on that level as far as brands and all that.
Yeah. Well, he can get there. He was on a terrible Orioles team. I think that's what held him back with those endorsements and stuff.
Yeah.
If he was on a better team, then he could probably get endorsements.
You talking about Harper or Judge?
I was talking about Machado.
Oh, Machado. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, as far as like Judge goes and all that, I mean, he's in the right team to eventually become that marketable star. And Machado, I mean, if you want all the branding
Does he have
stuff,
the face for it, though, Judge?
Judge?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's become the face of the Yankees, I'd say, already.
Not the prettiest face, but a face nonetheless.
Yeah.
All due respect to Judge.
Yeah.
But I definitely see the Yankees signing Judge to a big deal. Probably maybe not massive as Stanton, but
I know they got
it's going to be up there.
Yeah, they got a few years of team control too, so I don't think they really have to do that for a while. But we'll see what ends up.
But
happening.
I would definitely put that in perspective when signing other guys, though.
Yeah, but like I said, baseball doesn't really have a cap, so I mean, if you have the money,
I
to
was
spend,
just saying, like, do you want? It's just either wasting money or just you don't want to overspend.
Yeah, but if it's bringing in wins, I'm assuming a team with Machado.
Well,
or
I mean, if
Harper.
we're talking about if money brought in wins, the Dodgers would have like 15 World Series out of 20 years.
Yeah, but the Dodgers have always kind of just been that team that just comes up short. I think that's just their culture, mentality type of thing. The Yankees are always just
I think
been
they
winners.
paid more than the Yankees have for contracts.
Yeah, I think the Dodgers have the highest payroll currently in baseball, if not for the Red
still
Sox.
hasn't gotten it done.
Yeah.
Anything else about the playoffs and baseball, and anyone you see as a dark horse for a World Series run?
Possibly the Rockies, but I guess we just gotta wait and see. We got one more series left, pretty much, and then postseason baseball will be here. I think we got the AL wildcard game coming up next Wednesday, October 5th, I believe. Might be October 3rd. I get my dates mixed up, but either way.
So that'll be
Wednesday.
A's and Yankees.
Yeah, and I'm assuming it's gonna be in New York unless the Yankees get swept by Boston. The A's end up.
That could happen. It's a
yeah,
possibility.
it's possible.
But we're gonna take another short break. When we come back, we have what do we have?
Jimmy Butler.
Jimmy Butler. That's right. We have Jimmy Butler and the high expectation in the trades that the owner, the GM, is looking for. But we'll get right on that when we come back.
The average sedan is built with a steel frame and equipped with 6 airbags. Remember this the next time you see someone walking. Drivers, be aware. Pedestrians don't have armor. A message from the California Office of Traffic Safety.
And welcome back to the GSMC Sports Podcast. We've talked about the NL West race between the Rockies and Dodgers. We've talked about the Thursday night football matchup between the Rams and the Vikings. Now we're going to go into a little basketball news and the Jimmy Butler situation that's going on in Minnesota. They're asking for a lot. Do you think he's worth that much?
Yeah, so we had Adrian Wojnarowski put out a tweet. He says, and I'll read the tweet off. He says, ESPN reporting with Zach Lowe. And I never really understand that. I mean, just say Zach Lowe reported it. I don't understand.
Maybe he's asked to do that.
Yeah, maybe. By the way, he says that, Zach Lowe reports that Minnesota's asking price for Jimmy Butler remains too steep for teams. Talking about Minnesota, seeks quality vets, top prospects, future assets, cap relief. Too high a price for interested teams, including Miami. Sources are skeptical of Thibodeau's desire to make a deal. And that's what it is. I think Tom Thibodeau, the head coach and also the GM of this team, is pretty much the guy that calls the shots as far as who's coming in and who's coming out. He doesn't want to trade Jimmy Butler. And I'm convinced that Tom Thibodeau just simply can't coach without Bulls players. I don't get it. I mean, I think he's a bad coach. I always half thought he was a bad coach. He's a great assistant. I mean, I remember when he was on Boston's bench during that little 2008 run and all that. Did fine there. Doc Rivers talked about how big of a part he was of the team and how much he helped. But the guy, I don't know, Tom Thibodeau, I just don't understand him. I mean, he plays his starters at 40 minutes plus per game. Really doesn't utilize the bench. And I mean, him bringing in dang guys like Derrick Rose, I assume that's the only way he can use a bench because he's not really familiar with anything else. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, and the classic of this offseason has been the Timber Bowls. That's been like a little saying that's been going on. And he is asking for what people would think even LeBron James shouldn't be traded for. He's asking for quite a lot. Yeah,
and I mean, as far as, like I said, it all goes back to Tom Thibodeau. He is the problem here. And Minnesota, honestly, they got to get rid of him after this season.
Unless they should get a run over him right now?
They should, but given the season starts in about a couple of weeks and we got preseason basketball coming up on Friday.
It's too late.
Yeah, it's too late for that. You do that and you're pretty much saying, okay, our season's done. We're moving on to next year.
Well, I mean, what he's asking for Butler, he is kind of putting not a cancer to the team, but a problem with the team because they don't like each other.
Yeah, and I think, honestly, it's Butler and Thibodeau who are the biggest problems here. I don't think Karl Anthony Towns really likes him much. I'm not sure how Wiggins feels about him or whatnot, but there's always been rumors and all that about Towns not being too fond of him. And I think that's what it is. I mean, the Timberwolves front office tried an experiment here, bringing on Thibodeau, trading for Jimmy Butler, thought they'd be... I mean, everyone was talking about how the Wolves would be the up-and-coming team to knock off the Warriors. That was it. You let Towns develop a little bit more. I mean, Towns isn't even in his prime yet. The guy's still like 23, 22 years old, which is ridiculous when you think about it.
It is ridiculous.
Yeah,
how good he is right now.
Yeah, Wiggins is still very young. He's a solid third option, I'd say. And then you got a seasoned vet who's a very good player. I'd say a top 20 player in the league in Jimmy Butler. Tom Thibodeau, who has had sort of playoff success, I guess, with the Bulls. I mean, it's just Derrick Rose kind of cut that short. It was a decent coach. You add them there, and you figure, okay, once this team is ready to go, develop after a couple of years, they will knock off the Warriors, and it's just after 1 year, it's just not going to work.
If no one takes Jimmy Butler, do you see him just holding out and not going to games?
That's a good question, given we've never seen anything like that before.
I could see it happening, though.
Yeah, I could see it happening, just mainly because I think the bridge has been burned. I mean, you had Wiggins' brother.
It's been blown up.
Yeah, the bridge has been blown up. Yeah, that's pretty much a better way to put it.
C4 all over the bridge, and he pulled the detonator.
Yeah, you look at it, you had Wiggins' brother giving his 2 cents, which, I mean, he should have just texted Andrew Wiggins. If I would,
if I was Wiggins, I'd be texting him like saying, "Shut up."
Yeah, doing
Be
that.
Be quiet.
Then you had Steven Jackson jumping into it with Wiggins. Karl Anthony Towns, I mean, there was rumors about him not signing an extension until they resolve that whole Jimmy Butler situation, meaning trade Jimmy and I'll sign. And I think Thibodeau, he's too loyal at this point. I think he's got to realize what's best for the team and what's best for him to keep his job is to trade Jimmy Butler. And I'd say even then, maybe his job is it's just a matter of time, I guess, before he's gone.
Maybe he's just looking at his talent and thinking if he's gone, we're going to be in a huge hole.
And that is true, but, I mean, Minnesota has already decided Karl Anthony Towns is our guy. Jimmy Butler is not.
Well, he should be.
Yeah, and he should be. You're right. And I think Thibodeau's got to realize that. Towns is the guy. There's no coexisting with him and Jimmy Butler, obviously, given they've had their problems. And he's got to move on. Thibodeau needs to use his head here. I don't know why he's being so stubborn and why he is basically, I mean,
He loves Bulls players, like you said before.
Yeah, we all know that what Jimmy Butler is worth, I'd say, as far as a trade. Maybe you can get like a DeMar DeRozan, Kawhi Leonard type of deal where you do that, but you're not going to get picks. If you want picks, you can't get that vet. That's just the way it goes.
You're either picking vet or pick. You're not getting both.
Yeah, and you had Adrian Wojnarowski tweeting out he wants good vets, a good vet, solid young players, and picks and cap relief.
You can't have all of them.
There's no way Thibodeau's expecting to get a deal done with that unless he's just not as smart as we think.
Is he sabotaging this trade idea?
That's basically the point I'm getting at. I think he is sabotaging.
Sorry to cut you off to that point.
I'm just saying, like, I was taking too long to get that point. You basically hit the nail right on the head there. He is sabotaging it. I mean, we've seen that the Timberwolves owner wants Butler gone. He said if Thibodeau...
When the owner wants it gone, you should do your best to get rid of him in any way, shape, or form.
And that's what I don't understand. Like, Thibodeau should know if you're going against the owner, you're not going to last. And I'm just curious to see if Thibodeau were to get fired after this season. I mean, he couldn't even get fired in season. It's that bad. How fast he finds another head coaching gig or if he's an assistant somewhere else. Kind of like a Mike Witz. And I remember when he was coaching the Hawks. All right. That didn't work out. He gets fired. He's been an assistant with... Where has he been? I can't remember.
Everywhere, it feels like.
He's been with the Knicks and assistant. I might be wrong there, but either way, he's just kind of been like that assistant since, hasn't really found a head coaching gig. I think that's what could happen with Thibodeau. Like I said, Thibodeau...
Okay, so if Thibodeau leaves Minnesota, what other teams are desperate for a head coach right now?
I'd say none right now. I mean, we got to wait till the season progresses to see who is on the hot seat, who is not. And I'd say, only right now, Tom Thibodeau is on the hot seat.
So he's in trouble if he gets fired because I don't see any other teams going for him as a head coach.
Yeah, especially because, I mean, you got a lot of first-year head coaches that just got signed, so they'll get a decent amount of time to stick around and pretty much build up their team. Yeah, and then I'd say a lot of the other coaches are currently established. So, honestly, Thibodeau's probably going to be an assistant somewhere else. So we mentioned the hot seat. The dude is pretty much lighting the fire under his seat. It's him doing it. No one else is doing that. It's not the owner saying, okay, we got to do this or anything like that. Thibodeau is honestly sabotaging.
He's pulling the trigger at himself.
Yeah, Thibodeau's honestly sabotaging himself at this point, and I don't understand it. I mean...
I think he's just in denial.
Is it that hard of a concept to grasp, honestly, for him? Like, don't you think it's kind of easy?
Like from his trade, from what he's asking for, yes.
Like from us, we both figure, yes, you got to trade Jimmy Butler, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
With all the in-house problems and all that, it's just not going to work.
When other guys say, I won't sign unless Butler's gone, yeah, you got to get rid of Butler.
And I just don't know what Thibodeau is trying to do here.
Maybe he just has a man crush on Butler?
Something. I know, because, like I said, Thibodeau is very loyal to his former Bulls players. I mean, you could see that with him.
That can only go so far.
Yeah, and it's gone too far at this point.
Oh, way too far.
Yeah.
He should be traded long ago.
Mm-hmm. I don't know, man. I mean, we
shouldn't be still talking about Butler, to be honest. He should already be on a new team by now. And if he was on another organization.
And you mentioned a holdout. I think that's what's going to happen. I mean, I don't see Butler coming back. I don't see the locker room welcoming him back right now.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
Yeah, even if Butler, let's say, were to come back to this team somehow, some way, Karl-Anthony Towns is the guy. Butler's not walking back into that locker room and being the number one guy. No, this is now Karl-Anthony Towns.
If Butler walks into that locker room, I see other players holding out.
I wouldn't say that, given, I mean...
I see Wiggins holding out.
I don't know. These guys got to cash
There's
a check.
a lot of hate.
Yeah, there is, but these guys got to cash a check at one point. And I'd say maybe... I don't think they hold out. I think they kind of just isolate Butler from themselves, meaning the team follows suit with Wiggins and Towns, and Butler's kind of the odd man out, I'd say.
So you're saying they're going to, if he does come back, which is... 99% not going to happen. Mm-hmm. They're going to bite their lip and just play with them regardless?
They'll play with them given you still got to win games and all that. But as far as in-house locker room and all that, Butler won't be a guy who's close with the team or anything like that. They'll just kind of shun him in a way, I guess.
He's lost that. It's over. He cannot get that back.
Yeah. And I mean, he's kind of just done it to himself at this point. The guy, honestly, just is way too confident in himself, and I'd say takes himself a little bit too seriously.
I mean, credit to him for being confident in himself, but there's got to be a fine line.
Yeah, there's a point where it becomes a problem, and it has become a problem. But.
You throw out the word cancer and stuff a lot, and I've done that in the past, and I've kind of regretted saying it, but I think I'm confident in saying that this can be a cancer to a team.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Maybe not to other teams, but Jimmy Butler to the Wolves, that could be a cancer.
Yeah, it's something that's going to affect them from within, and you won't really win many games doing it. But I guess
you need chemistry on a team. You cannot just go on full on talent.
I mean, I think the owner's just going to end up pulling the trigger here. He's going to be the one who gets the deal done because, I mean, the owner is the be-all, say-all when he wants to be. And
he'll probably get a couple players.
If the owner has to make this deal, then Thibodeau's going to be out after this season and could be out mid-season. But I guess, I mean,
if he survives this whole season, I'll be very impressed.
I think the plan,
not impressed, surprised.
Yeah, I think the plan is for him to survive the season and then get fired. But if it's just where it's not working, they're losing a bunch of games, and you can clearly tell this isn't working well, then they will get rid of him.
Yeah. Who if they do manage to get this trade? Who's getting Butler, do you think?
I like the Heat still. I mean, Pat Riley is one of the best basketball minds, I'd say, in the history of the NBA. The dude just gets deals done. He's won championships being a head coach. He's won championships being the president, the guy who pretty much makes all the moves as far as the front office. Pat Riley knows how to get it done.
All due respect to Pat Riley, if LeBron doesn't come, he still only has that one championship as president.
Well, yeah, as president.
That's my opinion, at least.
Yeah, that's fine, but I don't think anyone was really doubting Pat Riley and his
ability. Oh, no, of course not,
point.
But
yeah.
LeBron helped padded his stats up a little.
But yeah, you got to think Riley also got LeBron. Riley is the guy who got LeBron there, too. And Riley
do you not think Wade was the main reason he went? Or Bosch, or both?
Well, I mean,
he wanted to play with his buddies.
Even then, like, because if you look back to what they've said, like, after the years after that, I think the original plan was for them to go... I can't remember the team, but there was a plan for Wade and all those guys to go to a different team. It might have been Cleveland. Them go to Cleveland. That didn't end up working out. And then I think Riley
ended up...
Yeah, that just would have been Wade and Bosch in Cleveland. But I think, yeah, I'd say Riley played a big part in it because, I mean, Riley is basically the godfather figure of the NBA, I'd say.
He looks like a godfather. He looks like a mafia guy.
Yeah, he's like, he walks in the room and you're just like he just draws that respect. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. And he has earned it.
Yeah, and I'd say he still got that as far as the moves that he's done. And I mean, the dude was winning with the Lakers, and he was coaching. Yeah, he was coaching the Showtime Lakers, winning with them. Didn't really win much with the Knicks, but who has? And with the Heat, I mean,
wasn't he the coach when they went to the finals in '99?
I think I don't remember exactly.
He took them to the finals, I believe. So that's saying something.
And then I mean, he got Shaq there also, whether it was through trade or free agent. I think the Lakers traded Shaq, right?
He might have been a free agent.
Yeah, either way, I'd say Riley's the one who got him there.
I don't remember.
So Riley's always been a winner. So I think he's going to be able to get Butler, and I think they have what Minnesota is essentially looking for. They got picks, and they got solid young players. You're not going to get a vet. Maybe you got to go on. They have exactly what Tom Thibodeau wants. They got vets, they got young players, and they got picks. They're not going to get all of that, but whatever package the Timberwolves want, the Heat can offer, I'd say. Yeah.
Minnesota's window for a playoff run is kind of closing with Butler. This whole Butler trade going on, in my opinion.
Yeah,
it's becoming a problem.
It depends if Towns can become the leader and make the guys around him better, and also what they get back. If you get solid pieces back, then I'd say they're still they're an 8th seed, 7th seed at best, I'd say, without Butler. But I mean, you have to get rid of him at this point.
But I think they're trying to what they're getting out of Butler. They want to get someone so they're back in like that 4 seed area.
Yeah, I don't think that'll be happening either way. I think right now, I mean, it's a lock with the Warriors being 1.
Yeah, the West is almost unfair.
It's tough for the Timberwolves to get up there. You got to be much better. So
if you're not the Warriors or the Lakers or the Rockets, you don't have a chance getting through the West. It feels like.
I wouldn't sleep on the Jazz. It might be a year too early, but they got something going that no one's really talking about.
Yeah, but we won't get into that.
Mm-hmm.
But so you're thinking Miami Heat is getting with Jimmy Butler?
Yeah, I'd say it's Miami. I've always had a little feeling that they'd be the team too, even before. So
we'll see how ridiculous the trade is, or if the owner steps in and says just do something simple, like he should be doing. But this might be the last straw for Thibodeau, though.
Definitely, I'd say so.
I think it's too late for him to be fired right now.
Yeah, but later on,
maybe even January, he might be gone.
It's possible if they're not in playoff contention, they're just a bad team.
Right. Maybe even sooner. Who knows? This is becoming a huge problem.
Yeah.
When your whole talk of the NBA is how negative it is, this whole trade argument is going, that's not good.
Yeah, especially it's been dragging on for almost a month at this point now.
Yeah, it's kind of like what trade happened. It's like Le'Veon Bell and the Steelers right now.
Yeah, it's a good little comparison right there.
Yeah. But we're going to take a little short break. When we come back, we'll talk any of the other topics in sports, and we'll get right on that when we get back.
The average SUV has 2 blind spots, weighs between 4,000 and 6,000 pounds, and takes about 6 seconds to stop. Remember this the next time you're on foot. Pay attention, people. Pedestrians don't have armor. A message from the California Office of Traffic Safety.
And welcome to the last segment of the GSMC Sports Podcast. We've talked about the Rams and Vikings matchup. We've talked about the NL West and the Rockies taking over. We've talked about Jimmy Butler debacle in Minnesota. Now we're going to go on to college football because we have some games coming up today as well as Saturday. And it's fun when you look at the top 25. And today we have Miami, the number 16 team, taking on North Carolina. Do you see an upset in this?
I don't think North Carolina is very good. Miami has just kind of frustrated me in the way where, their quarterback has been terrible the last 2 seasons, Malik Rozier. I'm not sure if they've made a move to their backup. They should. Miami last year, I look back to last year. Okay, Miami started off hot. Everyone was talking about the U was back. It was extremely exciting.
The turnover chain.
Yeah, the turnover chain. That's just been, extremely played out at this point.
I thought that was cool at first. That was kind of
I thought it was cool and all that. And it's just that when I say carried away, every other team now has the turnover this, the turnover that. It's just it's been copied to the point where it's just like, all right, enough. We're done with it.
But I think Miami should still keep it because they started the whole trend. And I think it's a good motivation thing for players. Like, I can get the turnover chain, and all the other players get hyped about it too for the guy. And I think that's a good team bonding thing.
And I think their current chain that they have is worth about $94,000. I think.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Well, maybe other teams shouldn't do like turnover things. They should do a touchdown or
I'd say,
interception or
be original or something. Like that,
like a touchdown run or 100-yard rush chain or something.
Yeah,
something different, not just turnovers.
Yeah, but
I get it. So Miami did have a chance to in the national title picture and got upset by Pitt.
I remember watching that game. I was sick.
If they don't lose to Pitt, they're probably in the football playoffs.
Yeah, I was on a cruise watching that game.
They were number 2 or 3, right?
Yeah, I think they were number.
They were 2.
Yeah, I think there were 2. I remember. It's just
and Pitt just ran away with it.
Yeah, like I said, that game made me sick to my stomach. I'm not like a big
on a
Miami.
Cruise?
Yeah, I was on a cruise. I was watching that game in my little room or whatever. My family's out there. I was like, no, I'm watching Miami play. And I'm not like a Miami fan, but it was fun seeing Miami back.
I have a story just like that because my family went on a cruise when the 49ers when the NFL playoffs was on. And I remember it was the 49ers because they were playing the Panthers in that divisional round. And on the cruise before the boat took off, they put the game on the giant on a giant stage.
Yeah, I know what you're talking
in
about.
the middle of the cruise, and everyone's all hyped about it. And I was like, oh, we're watching playoffs on this huge screen. It was great. Multiple games going on.
Yeah, I remember.
So I know exactly what you mean. It's just it's fun to just have all that kind of things. But it must have been torture if you're a Miami fan watching that game against Pitt because you think it's going to be over once before it starts.
I remember when Pitt's quarterback hit that bootleg and ended up scoring. I was like,
it's great play though.
Yeah, that quarterback played it pretty much. He played amazing that game, I'd say.
Pitt didn't play that well the whole season though.
Yeah,
but against the number 2 team. But that's the beauty of college football. Like the classic Appalachian State comparison in 2007, beating the number 2 Michigan or number 3, or maybe they were in the top 5. I know for sure.
Yeah,
but. That's always been compared to great upsets and you never know who's gonna win against who.
Speaking of Appalachian State, they took Penn State to overtime this season too.
Oh yeah, I thought they were gonna win that game too.
Yeah.
But Penn State managed to get through it. Speaking of Penn State, do you see them as a potential football playoff contender?
They're a contender. I don't foresee them making it when it's all said and done. But they're a contender. They're a contender.
Do you think Clemson's overrated because they're still ranked in the top 5 or number 3 right now, and after losing a lot of key players to the draft?
No, I'd say Clemson is still a top 4 team in the in college football. I think they're
They're number 3 at the moment, and number 2 is Georgia.
Yeah, they're moving on from Kelly Bryant to Trevor Lawrence. He's a California kid, too. Poor
Georgia,
freshman,
by the way.
yeah. Georgia?
Oh, yeah.
Just
Atlanta football has been so unlucky the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, Georgia sports as a whole. But I mean, as far as the game tonight, I got Miami winning. What about you?
Oh, I got Miami, too.
Yeah.
North Carolina this is just going to be one of those blowouts. Unless it's going to be a Pitt thing. Otherwise, I don't see them coming into any contention.
Yeah, you got Bama this weekend playing Louisiana.
That's going to be a slaughter.
48.5-point favorites there. That's what I love about college football is just when you see these top teams.
Oh, it's unfairly like.
I'm assuming like as a gambler, college football season has to be the best because you're gonna maybe pick a Louisiana to cover the 48.5-point spread.
Can you imagine someone bet like $5,000 for Louisiana to win? They're making a lot of money.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you want to go through these games and give some thoughts and make some pictures?
Sure, let's do it.
All right, so we'll do Alabama versus Louisiana. We'll go through the top 25
Is there
teams
any question?
No, Alabama. I think Alabama is like a borderline.
If Louisiana wins, I'll jump off my roof. I don't know. I'll try to jump off a roof into my pool or something ridiculous like that. I don't know.
But I mean, Alabama looks like a borderline.
All due respect to Louisiana people at the university, but come on, it's Alabama.
Yeah, Alabama.
Actually, someone from our Northern California area plays lineman for them.
For Louisiana?
Jonah Williams. Yeah, he played for Davis High School a little bit, as well as he went to Folsom.
Yeah.
And now as a freshman, he started as a lineman for Alabama, and that's saying something.
Yeah,
so shout out to Jonah on that one.
You got Jake Browning, quarterback for Washington. I think he went to Folsom also.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of good players from Northern California are going on to good teams.
Yeah, but Alabama, I mean, we're pretty much they're the best team in college football. I don't think it's really close, and they finally got a solid quarterback.
I don't see them losing that until like Nick Saban retires. Even then,
yeah, I mean it's ridiculous how good they are.
I think when Nick Saban retires, that recruitment will go down though.
Possibly, but Alabama's always just been like the machine of college football.
Well, they kind of struggled in the early 2000s.
Yeah, I think that was more of
But once Nick Saban got there, it was a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, so we both got Alabama there. I mean, Clemson, Syracuse. I'm assuming we both got Clemson.
Yeah.
So we move on from that. We got West Virginia versus Texas Tech.
I got West Virginia on this one.
I want to go West Virginia, but Texas Tech's
they haven't been playing well. They haven't been playing well, but this is like their first real test.
Yeah, I'll go. I'm gonna go with the upset here. I'm gonna say Texas Tech pulls this one off.
Even if they did win, it wouldn't really be an upset, don't you think?
Well, I mean, just given it's the 25th ranked team versus 12.
But Texas Tech is still a team you don't want to look down upon.
Yeah, but I mean, as far as the technical terms, I guess I will go with Texas Tech. And
what's the point spread?
3.5 West Virginia.
See, it's not that bad.
Yeah, it's not. And then we got Michigan State versus Central Michigan. I mean, I got Michigan State in this one.
Well, Central Michigan has had these upsets over the past, so I wouldn't be surprised if Central Michigan somehow pulls this off.
Are you taking them?
I have to go with one upset, so yeah, I'll take Central Michigan.
All right, then we got Georgia versus Tennessee. I hate Tennessee. I mean,
why do you hate Tennessee?
Because they were great way back when, and I feel like people try to talk about them as if, oh yeah, Tennessee's back. I just think, no, Tennessee's the terrible
what
team.
else do they have over there? Give them something.
I know, but it's just, I can't stand it.
They have Vanderbilt over there. I mean, come on.
I mean, even then, Vanderbilt's a better team, I'd say. But
really? You wouldn't even say Vanderbilt's better than Tennessee?
Tennessee's been awful. I don't think they won an SEC game last season.
Yeah, but I think it's you can go only so low. The only way is up, type of thing.
Yeah, well, I got Georgia in this one. Any surprises here for you?
Georgia's on a war path right now. They're motivated to get back in the national championship picture.
Yeah.
After losing in the probably the most heartbreaking fashion you can to Alabama last year. They need this.
Yeah, and then we got Oklahoma versus Baylor. I think Oklahoma's going to win this one easily.
Baylor's not the same team it used to be, so yeah, Oklahoma.
Yeah, and then we got UCF versus Pitt.
UCF. I hope UCF gets more respect because they've been undefeated the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, I'll go with UCF there.
Do you hear about the banners that have been flying over like Alabama and Tuscaloosa and saying they're the co-champions?
Yeah, I hate that. You're not the co-champions. I mean, yeah, you went
undefeated. They didn't get enough. I feel like they should at least get an opportunity to face a top 10 team. They never even got to face a top 10 team.
I think you could have put them in the playoff. I mean, that's kind of where maybe you move it to 8 teams. You put 2 large bid teams. But, I mean, they didn't get in, so I don't say you're national champs. Like, good, you beat Auburn in your
You were
bowl
undefeated.
Game. Yeah, but
I feel like they should have had an opportunity to at least
they should have had an opportunity,
chance.
I'd say. Yeah, I should have had an opportunity. But
they were never even looked at, which is kind of unfair.
Yeah.
You're undefeated. There's a reason you're undefeated.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not like they play in a Power 5 college. I don't want
to give him a chance.
I know. I'm saying, yeah, they should have gave him a chance, but it's the whole point. Like, yeah, it's unfair, but it's just the way it is, I guess. I'm not going to.
That's why college football is kind of corrupt when you think about it. So, if you're not in the SEC, you're not winning a national title, it feels like.
Yeah, so I think we go with UCF there. Then you got Texas versus Kansas State. Texas has been playing well.
Texas is playing very well. Good for them.
Yeah, so we both got Texas there.
Yeah, do you remember that game? I forget who they played. They beat a top, I don't think it was top 10, but it was a top 25 team. I think it was maybe last year or 2 years ago.
It was like Notre Dame, I think.
Yeah, and then the announcer said Texas football is back.
Yeah, and then they ended up going like 6-7, 7-6.
Yeah, that wasn't true. This might be the year though.
Yeah,
they're maybe not they're back, but they're getting there.
Yeah,
they're getting back into the minds of average college football fans.
Mm-hmm. Then we got Auburn versus Southern Mississippi. I got Auburn there.
Unless Brett Favre plays with Southern Mississippi, I don't see them winning. So
yeah, and even then, I'm not sure. 45-year-old Brett Favre.
Yeah, fun fact, if you didn't know, Brett Favre went to Southern Mississippi for college.
Yeah, and then we got Michigan versus Northwestern. Michigan frustrates me because they're just like Miami. They got a great team, but no quarterback.
Michigan, do you think they're ranked so high because of Harbaugh as their
I think
coach?
they're ranked high because they have a good team. It's just quarterback. I mean, Shea Patterson's been doing well, but I mean, the quarterback position for them ever since Harbaugh's been has been kind of.
You think Harbaugh can't get it done? Because that's been talked about a lot.
I think Harbaugh's a guy who's better suited for the NFL.
Do you think so?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Harbaugh's an NFL guy.
He shouldn't have been fired by San Francisco, to be honest.
Definitely not. I mean, it's just him and Trent Baalke.
His worst season went 8-8. That's not bad. His first season went 13-3. Then he goes 8-8. That's no reason to get fired.
Yeah, I think it was more so him clashing with Trent Baalke and all those front office guys.
Well, that's if I'm the owner, if I'm Jed York, I'm firing Baalke and not Harbaugh.
I think
Harbaugh is more of an influence on the team than Baalke is.
I think Baalke and York are like
and Baalke had picked. Like sorry, we're gonna go back. We're gonna go into this a little bit, but Baalke picked some terrible players in the draft. He picked A.J. Jenkins in the first round. He picked Jimmy Ward in the first round. He picked Anthony Davis in the first round. He had some home runs with like Alden Smith and Patrick Willis and Mike Iupati, but those were obvious picks.
Yeah. Even Alden Smith didn't end up really working out. That's a shame. That dude was
talented. Well, he had 20.5 sacks that one season.
Yeah, he was a monster. I mean,
he just couldn't get out of the law.
Yeah, if he wasn't a knucklehead, I mean, he'd be one of the best right now.
If he was a clean guy, he would still be on the Niners.
Yeah, then we got Mississippi State versus Florida. Florida, I mean, I'm going to go Mississippi State here. Florida's just been kind of disappointing the last few years. I mean, they've been disappointing.
It's not the same Florida like dynasty.
Yeah, post Urban Meyer, they've been real disappointing.
Yeah, Mississippi State is trying to get back into that.
Then you got
goodwill.
Yeah, then you got football school Duke. Should we say? I mean, they're ranked 22nd. Obviously,
let's hold on there for
Yeah, we all know it's a basketball school, but they're playing Virginia Tech. I'm gonna go Virginia Tech here. I mean, they had a bad loss to Old Dominion, but I'm gonna say they end up taking Duke. Actually, no, I'll go Duke. That game against Florida State that Virginia Tech dominated. Florida State's just a bad team, so I'll go Duke here.
Saying Florida State's a bad team is weird.
Yeah, but I mean,
but Virginia Tech, they were 18, I believe, losing to Old Dominion. So I wouldn't say they deserve to be way out of the rankings. I understand why they are.
Yeah.
But I think they're still a team that can be a top 25 team. So I'm thinking this could be a very close matchup. But I can see Virginia Tech taking it. I'll take Virginia Tech.
All right, so I got Duke. Then we got Ohio State versus Penn State. Believe we got this one. Fun. Yeah, Ohio State favored by 3 in this one. Believe this Penn State is the home team. I'm going to go Ohio State. Ohio State is a machine currently. Dwayne Haskins been playing well. I mean,
what is the ranking for Penn State?
9. You got 4 versus 9 here.
4 versus 9. So it's probably going to be the game of the week.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to go Ohio State. I'm going to go opposite. I'm going to go Penn State. I'm going to say home field advantage is going to be a huge factor in this.
Yeah, you could be right. Then we got Stanford versus Notre Dame. I've been waiting for Notre Dame to. I mean, they're not a good team.
Face a good team.
Yeah, I got Notre Dame's favored by 5.5. I'm going Stanford in this one. I just don't think Notre Dame is a good team, and I've been waiting for them to fall off. Sorry to say, but I've just never thought this season they were a great team.
So it's 8 versus 7, correct?
Yeah.
So I'm picking Stanford.
I'm going Stanford too.
Yeah, they had a trouble against Oregon, granted, but they did come back.
Mm-hmm.
They did have a miracle comeback. And so I see their momentum carrying.
And then
and I'll take Stanford over Notre Dame.
Then we got Kentucky, who's actually ranked 17th versus South Carolina.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah. Yes.
When did that happen?
No, it just happened this week.
Okay.
Weren't even.
Who they beat?
They beat Mississippi State.
Okay, that's
a ranked team right there. And then,
yeah, but that's pretty generous going all the way to 17.
Well, they beat Mississippi State and they beat Florida when they were ranked 2.
All right.
So that's 2 ranked wins right there. You got Benny Snell, who's been a monster.
Who's their coach? Who's their quarterback? Tim Couch.
Might be, but they got
He went back to college.
Yeah, they got a solid defense, and Benny Snell's been running the ball well. I'm gonna go Kentucky in this one against South Carolina.
Yeah, I don't see anyone in South Carolina that's a weapon. So I'll take the ranked Kentucky.
Then we got Washington versus BYU. BYU is ranked 20th. They knocked off Wisconsin a couple weeks ago, I think it was. I'm gonna go Washington here. I mean,
Washington just is a different beast than BYU.
Then we got LSU versus Ole Miss. I love LSU. I'm going with them.
Ole Miss has done upsets in the past.
Mm-hmm.
So I won't knock them out of it, but LSU is what?
They're ranked 5th right now.
Yeah, they're pretty darn good, so I'll take LSU.
Then we got Oregon versus Cal Berkeley.
Oregon being ranked, their rank went up, which doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I mean,
What are they now, 15?
19.
19. That's still like they were 22 and lost.
They were, I guess, the better team for about 40 or 55 minutes. 55 minutes.
They're for the hour of the game, and then the overtime.
I guess this is college football is just weird with their rankings and all.
Yeah, I don't see Oregon as a team that gets it done because of what happened in last game. Because
maybe that carries over to this week.
Yeah. So I got Cal, but I'm saying that like Oregon had that game won. They scored that touchdown. It was called back. I don't agree with that call. But then you botch the snap and they run it back for a touchdown. Like, that's on you.
Yeah.
You got to come back from that.
Cal's the home team here. They're 3-0. I'll go with Cal too.
Yeah. Or Oregon choked. Let's get that straight. Like, yeah, there were some questionable calls granted, but they choked nonetheless.
That's just classic Oregon, I guess.
I still couldn't believe it. I was in shock.
Yeah.
Actually, I have a friend that's on Stanford, Tucker Fisk. He's a good friend. His family is a good friend of ours. So a little shout out to Tucker. He's a redshirt freshman, I believe, and he's the tight end. He's a big dude too. His dad played lineman in the NFL, and I remember remember when we were younger. I was like 13. He was like 8 or 9, maybe even 11, and he was already taller than me. So the dude's a beast. So I wish him all the best.
So that's our picks for this weekend in college football. Anything else you want to add?
I think it's gonna be a fun week of college football. Definitely looking forward to Stanford versus Notre Dame, and as well as Penn State versus Ohio State. But yeah, that's all we got for this week. When we come back, we'll probably have the outcome. We won't have the outcomes of these games, but we'll definitely again look at them and look at the game between North Carolina and Miami and see if Miami's turnover chain will get them into the top 10. But we'll see you next time.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.